Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. Joining us back in studio this morning is Cleon Cadogan, president of NexGen, a Jackal initiative. And of course, he'll be talking to us about the importance of being a member of the credit union movement and all the benefits that it has for you. You do realize that this particular niche within the, I'll call it the banking sector, within the financial sector, this particular niche is on the way up. So there are more of those companies coming to the fore, and they all seem to be finding some level of success, while the credit union movement is dwindling.
I wouldn't say we're dwindling.
Well, there are less. Well, there are certainly less credit unions, and there are more.
Less credit union doesn't mean that you're dwindling. Less credit union means that you're having an opportunity for strength.
Okay.
Less doesn't mean weaker.
Okay.
But because of 2 or 3 credit unions coming together and understanding that we are going to be able to meet our market, that is what we're saying. And with young persons coming on board, young professionals that are coming on board, and persons who may not necessarily be quote unquote in the Jamaican vernacular of what professionals are. Because that again probably would have been the misconception of the credit unions and the banks. That's why the loan shark would have gotten
It's
that
interesting
capital.
that you've gone there. It's very, very interesting that you've gone to that, looking at the fact that, you know, young professionals and what the young professionals could have brought to the table. Again, we started talking about the aging population and aging leadership. When we look again at the micro sector, or even if we were to look at the investment banking sector, there are youngsters there, you know. Young, very young leadership, and they are making moves. They are driving the big deals across the capital markets. Is it time that NexGen really said to Jackal and all of them, look man, we have to fast track this thing, we need young persons to
and you know what is so fascinating about it? The idea did not come from a senior. The idea came from a young person.
Okay.
And because Jackal understands that they're the leaders for the credit unions, and a young person that they have on board, created this concept, created this idea, and they would have 100% been supporting it. We're having the second staging of this event, which is going to be at Ocean Course in Trelawney on the 30th of May.
Okay.
Our first one was last year, June 1st. Because they're recognizing we cannot take our young people for granted. This era of you need to take your time and climb the ladder, that's not what young people are looking for.
Certainly.
As long as I have the skill sets, as long as I have the education, as long as I have the attitude and the drive, I am going to be able to say to you as a young person, let's go this route, or let's do a feasibility study on why we should be going this way. And we would have done that, recognizing not only because of the aging population, not only because of senior persons in leadership. And we're not saying get rid of the seniors.
Absolutely.
Get rid of the minds that will be able to steer us on the path. Because a lot of times people believe that businesses are not flourishing because they're not taking on new, young, innovative ideas. Sometimes the young, innovative ideas are not so innovative because we don't want to be chopping the line. We want to make certain that what we're doing is in regulation with the laws of Jamaica and with what the central bank says. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be dealing with a fine just because you want to be technically moving ahead, and then you have to spend billions of dollars to correct that which is done. But with the next gen change makers, leaders that we're seeking to build with persons is sitting with that person who has the knowledge, the practical knowledge of what would have been done, and making it relevant as to where we're going for the next 10 years, the next 20 years.
So while I can see where, given universities are producing good graduates all around, you may be able to attract some persons in terms of the workforce. But how are you going to get back those young professionals who are looking the stock market, they're looking for a private equity deal, they're looking at a bond. They want to not just be putting down some money so that if I want a membership loan, I can get it. But they are looking at really driving investments in a major way.
And I can say that stuff are in the pipeline within the credit unions to move to that route of recognizing that the generation that we're dealing with is seeking for several streams of income. And like persons would say to you, if you're sleeping and your money's not working for you, then you're still working and you're going to work yourself to death. And if we are going to be able to meet this new generation that we are seeking to embrace, then we'll have to understand why we must be seeking to have those innovative ideas that are being to present rather to our population, so that we can be able to not be left behind.
One of the drawbacks with the credit union and we'll mention it off here. I think initially your ability to lend business loans in context of a business, not being a person and being a member, would have been one of the limiting factors. How will anything change in that regard? And is it something the BOG as new regulators discussing, looking at?
I think with the credit unions, and I can speak of Educom, of where I'm a member and where I work at the university branch, that they are working on different initiatives whereby persons can be able to get a business loan, but technically, as you would have said before, it's not the business, it's the member. It is the individual who may be able to, who's able to access that loan. So there are opportunities, and I'm quite certain that there are probably other credit unions across Jamaica that are offering that type of a service. It may not be as exorbitant as the other competitors are, but you still have an opportunity to allow your funds to grow within the family. That's how I see it.
The DBJ, for example, has done a number of things, and they're pushing entrepreneurship. Generally, most economists will tell you if an economy is to grow, it is the small business, small businesses that are going to drive that growth. But again, for most of the credit unions, they're missing from that sector. Is that a part of the reason why we're not seeing the credit unions at the forefront and being seen as relevant, especially in an economy set to grow through business growth?
I think the assessment needs to be done, whereby why we should be at that table. And like I would have mentioned before, there's some tables that you need not to be a part of, because you do not have what it takes to sit at that table.
Yes.
However, am I saying that the credit union does not have the capacity to sit at the table? They do. But nothing is done within the credit union without the consultation of its members. As I would have used the example before, a parent is seeking to go on a vacation. Most civil parents are going to say to the child, this is where we're going. And they paint the picture to the child as to why you should be excited to go on this vacation. Even though a child may not be technically on good terms with you as a parent, but because I say we're going to Hawaii, you're all excited because you're going to be going. And we have got to recognize the marketing strategies that we're using, the technology that is available to us. We have got to use them and do not think that for a moment that our seniors are not aware as to what is happening. Our seniors do have probably billions of dollars in the other places, and they have some with us, but they're thinking, can I, or why should I take it from here to put it here if it is not going to give me that big of a turnover? So therefore, as NexGen, we are also working with these credit unions to help them to understand we have got to be relevant to our market and to help our seniors understand going this route of investing is not necessarily, quote unquote, the bad thing to do.
Okay.
But how it is going to benefit you, because nobody is going to do anything where they cannot see how it is going to bring about other additives to their account.
Many of the leadership in the credit unions will tell you, well, this is a niche, and people will tell you the importance of niche marketing and understanding your niche within which you operate. Is it time for that niche to change?
It is time because the world is changing. Every day you're seeing different things where young people are becoming CEOs, young people are having their own multi-billion-dollar companies. If we want to be relevant, and that's my main word for today, if we want to be relevant, we will understand the demographics that we have here in Jamaica. We'll understand the opportunities that may not seem to be like blinkers before us. But if we look deep within the crowd, we're going to see the billions of dollars that is still awaiting us.
Final word with you. What's the path?
The path is we continue to encourage young persons. Do not see the credit union as the poor people's bank. The credit union is not the poor people's bank. The credit union is your family that is awaiting you. Come home.
Cleon Cadogan is president of NexGen initiative out of Jakul, looking to ensure that the credit union remains relevant and viable to help you take advantage of that next financial opportunity within the family. That's why we say it on here on Let's Talk Stocks. We give you information to make better financial decisions. Come back with us tomorrow morning at 9. Another insightful program lined up for you.